Hi guys, so you would have seen in some recent videos that I've started making a lot of terrain for my wargaming board that I play pillage on. So you've seen things like obviously these little huts. There's a water well there, there's a barricade, well another barricade with some spiky points, a little fireplace, and then a good old sort of hedge thingy, well to keep the sheep in or animals out. So yeah, I've been making all these bits and pieces, but these ones were actually made from sprues. Yeah, that's right. Obviously, I've got lots of sprues left over from putting together all the Victrix miniatures. And I thought, well, rather than just obviously bin them or they go in a cupboard or drawer forever, yeah, I would turn the sprues that you take your miniatures from and make some terrain pieces, like like the bits that I'm showing you sort of clearly here. So, obviously, like me, if you've been playing the game Pillage, then you'll have a lot of miniatures. And all the miniatures, well, they come on sprues. And then we cut all the bits out, as in the body, the heads, the arms, glue them all together. And obviously that gives us our finished miniatures, which as you can see here, these ones I have painted now. So I've done Vikings and Saxons. And yeah, so we get the sprues that are left over. There's obviously normally as well, lots and lots of different sort of head variations, swords, weapons, shields, all the rest of it. So keep all those. So say I literally take everything off the sprue, keep them in the box, and then obviously I can use them for, well, other builds. But obviously it's a sprue we want here. And if you're a subscriber or you've been watching my channel for quite some time, you'll know, yeah, I've made a ton of different things from sprues. Obviously in the past, it's all been more sort of Warhammer related, as that's the sprues that I was using. But obviously in this case, yeah, I'm using these sprues from Victrix for their awesome miniatures. And I say, rather than bin these, we can turn these into things. Definitely simple, easy terrain, that's for sure. So yeah, if money is tight, which I think it is for most of us, then being able to recycle something into something else is pretty cool. Obviously, if anything, this is going to cost you a bit of time and some glue, and then obviously eventually paint. So what we want to do is get some nice little lamps. We want to get off these little, well, I call them nibbly knobbly bits because, well, they are kind of like nibbly knobbly bits. So yeah, these all need to come off. As what we want is a nice clean sort of sprue without anything on it. And then we can then turn this into, well, into whatever we can think of really. So in my idea or my thinking here is I want these to be, well, they're kind of like tree trunks, or not the trunks, but actual branches or logs. Basically, I want to make these look like they could be wood. Obviously, it'll help with the illusion once we come to paint them, because otherwise we do sort of still see these as bits of plastic. But it is just a case of scraping down, scraping the edges. So there's no sort of pointy bits or no square bits. Obviously, some of these do have numbers on, so we need to scrape those off as well. As the last thing we want to do is paint up a tree and then see a lot of numbers on it, or in some cases, full on writing. Yeah, so scrape them bits off as well. This is where you don't have to be too neat, you don't have to be precise at all. In fact, the less precise, the better, because then it'll look more sort of natural. And there we go. So these little shaving bits, yeah, we keep them because I'll be using them later on in the video. But then obviously what we need is, well, loads of these. So say these are in my head, they're now sort of tree trunks or tree branches, I should say, because they see one skinny tree, but then again, it could be. So now we've got loads of these. We can glue these together. And obviously cement glue is great because with cement glue, you can actually put two bits together and then use this. And obviously because it's so fine and watery or liquidy, or it flows well. So it goes in between the gaps. And obviously cement glue kind of part dissolves plastics. When you push it together, it obviously then, well, squishes together. And when the cement glue dries, yeah, you're left with a nice, good contact. So obviously that's one little bit of a wall made, but I need, well, more walls. So this is a case of rinse and repeat and do loads more. And the good thing is, obviously, if you're like me, I've got quite a few of the wall bands from Victrix. So I've got a lot of sprues, which is why, yeah, I thought I'd have a go at making some good old sort of, well, terrain to go on our board. And I say it is a case of scraping all stuff. So you will get a lot of these shavings, but again, these will be used. So yeah, don't bin these just yet. In fact, what I do is I put these in another sort of pot or box, and I keep them because they can be used for a whole variety of things. So in this video, obviously in the past I have made things with what's called sprue goo. I'm not going to do any of that in this video. This is just literally cutting up the sprues. So there might be another video with more terrain. So using my little man here, obviously because I want to make the height sort of comparison and make this sort of, well, fit his world. So my plan with this first one is to make, well, a little hut, but I want to make a round hut. So yeah, find something round, just sort of curl it round. But obviously I want to sort of keep it in that roundness. So I've just cut out a bit of cardboard that's kind of round or round-ish, and then we can just glue the sprues to that bit of card. And there we go. There's a nice basis of a building that's cost us nothing, but yeah, a little bit of time. So say when this is painted, obviously again, when things are painted, it makes them look so much better. Because obviously until this thing's painted, it does look like it's made of sprues, which isn't too surprising. So for the roof, yeah, a nice simple kind of thatched roof. This again, if you've seen some of my older videos where I've used sprues, sprues are great for making frames. And that's obviously what I'm kind of doing here. Yeah, I've got this super glue accelerator, which is real cool. Yeah, I'll leave links down below, guys, to where I get my bits and pieces. But this just makes the glue obviously dry instantly, which is great. So a few more bits of cardboard cut out and put in all the gaps. And this is where we're going to be using these shaving bits. So this is going to be put on the top. And again, in my head, obviously I always have these cunning plans. And in my head, this is meant to look like sort of, well, straw. Obviously not very neat straw because it's all over the place, but that's fine. Yeah, it's going to look like straw-ish. Again, when it's painted, it does look so much better. So the things you saw at the very beginning, yeah, these are the items that I'm going to show, well, just how to make a few bits, but obviously with imagination, you can make absolutely anything. So I've got another sprue here. So I'm going to do all the bits first and then go through and paint them afterwards. So while that's obviously the glue's drying, I can then go on to make the next thing. And with this one, I've got my sprue, I've taken all the nibbly knobbly bits off and then literally cutting, well, loads of these out. And these can obviously be used as, well, stones or bricks. So again, I have done videos where I've made, well, I think I've made a kind of part of a castle using sprues in this manner. Again, this is one of the things that, guys, this is a hobby. I know there's always going to be the old Karens out there saying whatever, or Kevin's or whatever it's called, but this taking a long time to do. This is a hobby. Whether this takes me 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 5 weeks to do, it doesn't matter. It's a hobby. And for me, making the things is as much enjoyment, or I get as much enjoyment from making things as I do from playing games. I mean, sometimes I get more enjoyment from the making, especially when I'm going to be building a castle soon. This is where I'm a big kid. That little castle I'm thinking about building, it may or may not fit in well to play a game on, but it's going to look good and I'm going to have fun building it. So yeah, this is one of the things that it does take a time. But again, if you've got time, because again, for me, this is a way of relaxing. So yeah, it doesn't matter how long it really takes. So do a few levels, but obviously once you start doing the levels, the first level, obviously I've glued down to go obviously on the cardboard. All the next sort of levels, yeah, I can use a cement glue. So guys, I do have the cement glue. I do have a clear one, and I have one that's blue. And the idea of the blue one is so you can see where, well, where you've put the glue basically, because it's blue rather than clear. So yeah, and there we go. Got a few levels. Obviously, again, you don't need to be neat. If anything, sometimes it looking like this does look better because it'll fit more in the times and some shoddy shoddy buildingmanship work, or whatever. That didn't sound right. Shoddy buildmanship. You guys know what I mean. Yeah, we got Bob the Builder in to build you a well, so it's all a little bit higgledy-piggledy. So that's kind of like the base of the well, but then we need a little support so we can have a bucket or whatever. And again, I've got a few more bits here that I've kind of like shaven down to make them look like they're the old sort of tree bits. And yeah, stick a few on the side, and then we'll stick one across the top. And then yeah, say it doesn't look too bad. for being a kind of a well, which is pretty cool. Again, guys, this is where your imagination, you can make all kinds of things from the sprues. So we'll go through and show you how I made a couple of barricades, as they are definitely real easy things to make, and definitely something you would have when playing the game. So say things like the wells, these are just sort of cosmetic almost, although you could use this as a loot marker, or even go a scenario where you got to poison the well. But there you go. Yeah, again, keeping it simple, which is what I kind of do all the time, because keep things simple is best. So I've done another sort of brick little work here, but this one's a bit smaller, and this one is just going to be a little sort of, well, a little fire. Again, it's when you come into pillage and you want to burn some buildings and you need to grab some fire. Well, yeah, this little campfire is where your miniature would go to first. Grab a flame, and then, yeah, start setting things ablaze. Great. Again, say nice and simple, easy to make. So those sort of like wooden tree trunk bits, yeah, I made loads of these in one go, just because I knew, well, there's quite a few ideas I had in my head that I was going to make from them. So it made sense just sitting there whilst watching TV. Yeah, just shaving down a load of sprues to make them into some sort of wooden tree trunk bits. And again, using my little guide for scale, just so everything does look sort of kind of right. I'm going to cut several of these bits the same size. So this is going to make sort of like a hedge. Again, another sort of barricade, I guess. But this is, let's say, sprues. I have got a lot of sprues, and I've only painted, well, I painted 2 full wall bands. I've got the third one is currently sitting on my desk, all assembled, just needs to be painted, and that's the Normans. So looking forward to getting them done. So yeah, so already I've got quite a few sprues that can be made into a whole variety of things, whether it's the complicated things or just say simple barricades or hedges and all that kind of stuff. So with this, I've got my uprights, and then all I need to do, bit of string, just going to go in, out, shake it all about, and just keep doing that. Again, real simple ideas. But what I like though, in the pillage booklet, there is a bit at the back that shows you how to make some terrain yourselves. And this is one of the things it does show in the back. I don't think it shows using sprues, but yeah, again, the back of the pillage book is great to give you ideas on how to make some sort of simple terrain bits, just to sort of fill out your board and obviously make the game sort of more immersive. And there we go. Yeah, nice, simple. Again, this is what I always say, guys. If I can do it, it is simple. It's not complicated in any way. Yeah, a little bit of imagination, a little bit of time. And so this is obviously got the simplest barricade you can make. But again, works really, really well. Didn't take 2 seconds to make. Well, probably made a bit more than 2 seconds. But yeah, nice and simple. So the other barricade I kind of want, which I think you definitely would see back in those days, and that is a good old log with a spike on the end. So again, I've got my my little logs sort of already done here, the sprues shaven down, all nibbly knobbly bits off, and then what we've got to do is shave an end into a point. Yeah, as simple as that. And then do obviously the same with several more. So these are all roughly the same length ones, these. Again, this is where you can make some sort of big logs or bigger walls and have a ton of these. Or you could have a few spikes, or even cut the very tips off and almost make like a spike trap, which would be quite cool. So again, like I've done with the initial walls, all you got to do is push them close together, and then yeah, put the cement glue, and this will just flow between all the pieces. And obviously, once you put this in, then give them another little squish together, let it dry, and there you go. You've got some nice spiky defenses going on here. So I'm just going to put a little brace over the top. Again, this is just obviously to help keep it all together, but it does sort of cosmetically make it look pretty cool. So as I say, frames with sprues is something you can easily make. So that's round building I made. You could obviously make square buildings, bigger buildings. You can make all kinds of stuff, which is just pretty cool. So yeah, so all these things, again, until they're painted, they don't look bad, but they don't look good. But again, some simple ideas, guys. If you've got any ideas of what you want to see me make with sprues, by all means, let me know down in the comments and I'll have a go. So again, all the shavings and the nibbly knobbly bits, keep them because they can be used for a variety of other things. And I say we've not even sort of gone into sprue goo, and the kind of things you can make with that are just, yeah, they're insane. If you haven't seen any of my sprue videos, guys, go check them out because as I say, you really can make absolutely anything and everything with sprues. So yeah, time for painting. Obviously everything's primed in black, as you can see there. The roof for the building, I kind of sprayed that black and then did a light coating with some yellow, just because, well, it's going to be painted mostly yellow. But everything else is going to get a dry brushing with white, and then obviously painted with some speed paints or dipping inks. I'm not too sure which ones I use, but we'll see together in a moment. So good old dry brushing. Yeah, again, these bits of, well, kind of wood, I've got some decent texture. And as it is mostly all wood, I'm going to paint it all pretty much in the same colour. You kind of imagine they would have chopped down a load of trees, turned them into these kind of sort of, not planks, but bits of, well, I don't know, logs. And then, yeah, so everything's going to be kind of the same colour. Again, this is where obviously you paint things how you want to paint things, take more time. Yeah, basically have fun. I mean, that's what I always say about this hobby. It's about having fun. If you're not having fun, then you must be doing something wrong. So either take a break, which is what I did. Oh, I don't know. Was it 6 months ago? 5 months ago? There was a time where I actually got bored. Well, not bored. I just wasn't as excited about painting miniatures as I was. So I think I took off about 2 weeks. Didn't paint anything. That made me miss it. And then I came back fighting strong. And yeah, obviously I love painting again, which is pretty cool. So yeah, these things, they don't take long to paint because there's not really too many colors in what I've done. With the bricks, yeah, I wanted them a shade, well, I didn't really want them grey. I like to make things a bit more grimy, especially when there's water involved. So there's a little bit of green kind of involved here as well. But then again, good old dry brushing over the top, just sort of catch the edges of all the bricks, and just adds a bit more sort of contrast to the things. And then the final thing, I mean, this is what I do with the actual terrain pieces that are 3D printed. I like to make everything at the bottom have a little bit of grass on it. So when it does go onto my board, it just kind of fits in really, really well with everything else. Because obviously, as I always say, with my board, I want it to be a playable board, but also like a full-on diorama that I can use to take all the pictures when I do come to sort of paint it, my little miniatures. They've got a nice backdrop to be taking photos of. So yeah, a little bit of grass on the bottom, pretty much everything really. So it doesn't take too long to do this stage, and again, it just makes the terrain pieces look a little bit better, and they definitely blend in well with, say, my gaming board. So guys, hope you enjoyed the little video. Say the amount of things you can make with sprues. I must have, oh, I don't know, a good dozen, maybe even 20 videos where I turn sprues into things. And I say terrain pieces, yeah, got one of the simplest and easiest of things to do. But there you go. I say for a little bit of time, a little bit of glue, obviously an imagination, and there we go. There's a nice basic hut. I do like the fence. The fence has come out really, really well. And so to have the other bits and pieces, I say some good old spikes. Obviously could make these a lot wider, maybe even lower. Put some gaps in between. I'm not sure. Again, this is where your imagination can go riot. Again, a simple little barricade like this, nice and easy. And obviously you can make, well, absolute ton of these, and maybe have them with the spikes. A good old wishing well, not wishing well, but well. And again, so even like markers, objective markers, and all that kind of thing. Yeah, you can definitely make a whole variety of things out of sprues. So here comes my little chap. And yeah, I mean, it came out really well. So a little bit of time, a little bit of paint, and there we go. Some more terrain pieces for your pillage wargaming board. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if there's anything you want to sort of challenge me to make with the sprues. By all means, let me know in the comments. Or if you make things with sprues, yeah, let me know what you've done. Just because I might copy you. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Video on the screen as well. Give that a click see more of what I do. And yeah, all the good stuff, guys. Like, share, subscribe, leave comments. It does help out so much. Okay, you guys take care. Bye for now.